So, right, I want to ask you a couple of questions. When's the last time you did any research into drugs and how they act in the body, etc., etc.? Be it proper research, chemical, as in medical report type stuff, research papers, or even just ask questions online. And when was the last time you did any research into nutrition? Again, either read a research paper or asked a question in a forum or on a Facebook page, but still inquired about learning more about nutrition. Last question. Because I reckon for the first two questions, it was quite recently. I've probably guessed that in some way or another, you've either read something or you've asked a question or you've seen something that's expanded your knowledge regarding drugs or nutrition. So last question. When's the last time you did any research into training? When's the last time you expanded your knowledge into that? Now, there will be those that do it or have done it, but I guess that for the vast majority, it isn't done very often, if at all. So why is that? Why do we spend so long learning every nuance about how drugs interact, how this does that, how the other does the other, or carb timing, insulin levels? But we don't spend any time on biomechanics. We don't spend any time on physiology. We don't spend any time on experimenting with new techniques or learning new techniques or studying new training styles or looking at research on such things, because there is some. Definitely is some. I remember reading a study a few years back now about TUT as opposed to explosive rep movement, which stimulated more fibre. It was TUT, by the way. However, they did say that TUT didn't create enough fibre damage for effective growth. So, why is it that we learn the gnat's arse about the drugs we use, or we try to? We spend hours arguing, debating, discussing over the reactions of progesterone and nandrolones in the body, or the importance of NEAT values, or TDE, or carb timing, or any of these things. But when have you ever seen that level of discussion into training techniques, into training styles? We've got it all fucked up. I don't know if I did it consciously. I don't know if I was right in doing it. But I know when I first started training, started messing around with weights when I was 15. Got into it seriously when I was 16. Started with drugs when I was 19. And those first 3.5 years, I badgered everybody I met about training. I read every flex and muscle and fitness from cover to cover, looking at the training routines. Never read an article on nutrition. Obviously, there weren't articles on drugs. I didn't even know they really existed, to be honest. Training, all about training. That's all I focused on. I'd learned everything I could. I tried every technique I could. I tried to train with anybody I could who was better than me, who was bigger than me, who was more experienced than me. I was like a sponge. Training, because that's all I knew. I didn't know about nutrition. Even after I started using drugs, I didn't know about nutrition. And I'm not saying by any points that our nutrition knowledge isn't important or that our drug knowledge isn't important. But all I'm saying is we neglect our training knowledge. And that is equally important. I don't think I've worked with a client where I've yet to fail to make an improvement. All right, not all my clients stay, and some of my clients don't like the way I do things. They don't feel it's for them. But anyone that's stuck out my program has improved. And the key element of that is the training. That's the bit that changes the most for people. That's the bit that is new to everybody. Diet's pretty basic for most of us. A lot of us overcomplicated it, and it doesn't really need to be so. If you keep it fairly basic, fairly simple, it will adhere to most of our requirements for most people and their level of development. It will definitely get you to a national level. It doesn't need this finite management that seems to be the trend these days, and it's definitely over-scienced. Same with the drugs. If you can grow because your training is effective and your diet is adequate, then you don't need many drugs. And this is something that you see mirrored in the guys from yesteryear's, Ian Harrison. I mean, he came through when we interviewed him. That the key element in everything he did was the training. He ensured he got a lot of protein, the rest of the carb sources were pretty much whatever, but it was the training. The main focus was the training. And you see everybody from that era to a large degree, their main focus is the training. Yet these guys were still 270, 280 on stage. So why is that? Why could they be so big, but have a very basic diet concept and a very basic drug concept? Is it that all these years we've underestimated the power of training? Diet's the most important thing. Diet. Is it though? No doubt it can have a massive impact on development. No doubt. But is it the most important thing? And if it is, by how much? Is it massively overly important than training or drugs? I don't think so. To me, training is the most important thing. Diet a close second, and drugs is last. Granted, you can overcompensate for shit diet and shit training with more drugs. But when you remove the drugs, that shit diet and shit training will have an effect, and you'll just lose. That's why guys don't hold size when they come off cycle. That's why everybody's staying on all the time. Because the training's a bag of wank. They train like fucking fannies. They don't train hard. You know, people going about certain old school bodybuilders, or not even that old school. I mean, I remember somebody the other day was mentioning John Hudson, and how he trained really, really hard, and it was insane. And I was like, well, no disrespect to John. I mean, great athlete, incredible athlete. But that was just training in his era. There was nothing special about what he did. That was what everybody did. Everybody trained that way. Everybody trained at that level of intensity. And that's something we've lost. Generally, people don't train hard now. And then they don't train effectively either. So it's appeared that a vast majority of people don't have any ball. I train hard. Do you? There's always someone trains harder, and that's what you want to be doing. You want to be challenging yourself. You want to be finding these people, and you want to be pushing yourself more, not sitting on your laurels thinking, oh yeah, I train hard. There's always harder. Always. There'll always be somebody stronger, bigger, who trains harder than you. Find them, train with them, push yourself, push your limit. No, we're just up the trend. A lot easier, isn't it? But I have to stay on because I lose size when I come off. No, you lose size because you ain't built no decent quality fucking muscle and you're relying on drugs. That's why you lose size. Simple as. You don't lose size when you come off if you're training properly. I'm training like a fucking fanny now. I'm training like a girl. Really am. And it's still harder than 90% of the people in the gym where I train. All right, I'm training in the commercial gym because I'm a fanny and I don't like the cold and I want the heat. No, really, because it's 24 hour. But the point is, I'm training shitter than I've trained in years. And it's still harder than most of the people that train around me. And it's like, what the fuck? We spend so much time looking at drugs, looking at diet, calculating macros and the gnat's arse breadth fucking hairline of this, that and the other. And then we go in the gym and do 5 sets of 10 on chest and think that we're going to grow massive. We just don't push ourselves in the gym, generally speaking. And as a result, we become drug dependent. And we're seeing it all the time now. More and more people staying on. More and more people scared to come off because they think they're going to lose the size they've developed. And it's just like, we've got it all wrong. Training should be the first and foremost. That should be your first point of call because, yeah, okay, it's been proven if you take steroids you'll increase muscle mass in an untrained individual, but there's a ceiling to that. It's only going to work for so long. And it was quite impressive. I think it was about 9 kilos these people put on over 20 weeks of lean body mass. But that's not going to carry on forever. You're going to get to a ceiling and that's going to stop. And you need to, the amount of times I look at people online and they're doing 1.5 grams of this, or they're doing 2 grams and this, that, and the other. Insulin and growth everywhere. And sorry, but they look shit. They carry hardly any mass. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You need to learn to love the pain. You need to learn to love the weights. That should be your first port of call. Training, and then learning to train hard. If you don't, you're always going to fight an uphill battle. You're always going to need drugs in your system. And you're effectively going to be a drug addict because you're not going to sustain your growth without drugs there. Back-breaking hard work's what builds muscle. And it's what keeps muscle. I just think as a community, we've lost our way massively on the importance of training. And there's so many different techniques you can be using, and some you'll enjoy and some you won't enjoy. But if applied correctly, they will generate growth. But we fanny around, and when things don't happen, you see it continuously. Oh, well, I'm not growing, so I need to up my calorie, or I need to look at my diet, or I need to look at my drugs. When does anyone say I need to look at my training? Never. And yet 9 times out of 10, that's what the fuck is wrong. It's the training that's shit. Anyway, I've been toying with this in my head for a week or so. I kept thinking about this, and I thought, you know what, I'll do a video, fuck it. And then someone put a post up on one of the pages I'm on the other day, and I was like, you fucking bastard, I was about to do a video about that. Anyway, I thought I'd do it anyway. But I think as a society, as a training society that is, we've really lost our way with the basic fundamentals of what we do. And the basics is done in the gym. The vast majority just don't seem to. They seem to try and do it in the kitchen or do it in the laboratory. They don't seem to try and do it in the gym. But you train hard, you'll grow. And you'll be shocked how much you'll grow. Anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to get off. Hope you all go well. Freeze me fucking tits off. And I'll catch up with you guys soon.